don't know why, but I was actually thinking of Larry King lately.
Oh yeah.
From that time when we saw him when he was doing had all Jack Hanna on.
Jack Hanna.
The animal guy.
Oh right, he's one of those animal guys.
And then he brings out an alligator.
Right.
Larry, and he's like, Larry, do you know what this is? And he's just like, no. It's like he didn't know what it was. Like I don't get that. It was.
Yeah, I thought it was like a turtle or something.
I love the the Larry King with Seinfeld, and Seinfeld's so entitled. He's like, you thought I was canceled?
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
So, look, I'm sorry, Jerry. It's like,
He thought what was canceled?
so Larry King thought that Seinfeld was canceled, and Jerry Seinfeld.
He just made
But
a
this was
mistake
back in the
during
day?
During the
Yeah,
interview.
yeah. And then
This was in the late 90s or
yeah,
something?
late 90s, early 2000s, and so
Right.
he was on Larry King, and so
Right.
Jerry Seinfeld took that as an insult. It's like,
Right,
no,
right.
I left on top.
Right.
How dare you think that I got canceled?
Well, yeah, because he says, well, you guys were canceled, and we see, he's like, what? He's like, where did you hear that? He's like, we weren't canceled, and he's like, Jesus, do your homework kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was pissed. I do seem to recall
He was
this.
definitely pissed.
It's like Larry is totally clueless. You should know what you're getting into when you get on the show.
Yeah.
Like, Larry's well known to not.
I'll give Larry this. He wasn't he didn't have a bad attitude overall. He was more of a positive, positive personality.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm speaking of him as if he's dead. He's still alive.
He is still alive.
But yeah, Jerry Seinfeld, very, very pretentious and
Very.
stuck up. And,
Yeah.
And looking back on Seinfeld, it wasn't a terrible show, but it wasn't it's way overrated.
I agree.
It's a heavily overrated show.
Yeah, it is. I've had my fill of it basically permanently, going back a few years now.
Yeah, I guess it's still on a lot. I wouldn't know, but
Yeah, I don't really tune into
I remember
reruns anymore.
I remember when I was
So I've had my fill.
I remember when I was in grade 5 or grade 4 at back in junior school, and this kid Durasco, whom I was friends with, he was Serbian. He was yeah, me and my parents we loved Seinfeld, or
Yeah.
I forget how this came to.
Yeah, a lot of people watched it.
And honestly, I probably watched it too for some stretch of time, but I don't know when I was that young. It was kind of maybe later, but.
I felt I didn't watch it till reruns.
Yeah, it's he watched it with so it was appealing to different age groups, and
Yeah,
I find that kind of interesting.
It really
It was a bit of a phenomenon.
It was.
Yeah.
It was really odd.
Yeah,
It was really,
a young kid, just old enough to kind of get it, and watching it with his parents.
Yeah, yeah. I watched it with my folks too. And,
Yeah.
They loved it.
You know what's a kind of fascinating thing? Not obviously directly related to Seinfeld, but just with a big popular sitcom.
Right.
What I find is fascinating is how popular Friends is around the world.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
it's
right,
immensely popular in other countries.
People in Korea, they've all watched it.
I know
people
for a
in
fact
Japan.
the Asians love
But
that
it's
show.
great. What's amazing is that people in Asia, they view North America through the lens of Friends. That's how they see that.
I'm not surprised.
And it's that we're all with those those
think we
three goofy guys and
Well, yeah, I'm not surprised they got that message though.
Yeah, it's that's the and that's why they all think that we all will live with wear our shoes in the house, because in all those shows people are always walking around with their shoes in the house.
Yeah,
because it's a stage set, of course. But
they think North Americans are how it is in Friends.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. They
Crazy.
can't be well, it's
a show. Yeah.
It's Hollywood kind of thing.
I mean, I'm sure, and a lot of people who have some sort of general awareness can understand that you don't view a whole culture through their television.
So when they watch Friends, they think that, it's in New York City, it's
7-0 Bills.
Nice.
Sorry, but yes, they.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just that colors their perspective of North America. like they're like they think it's like
Right.
this
the
is
coffee shop culture.
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
the coffee shop culture and the,
Yeah.
and that like that just a bunch of like kind of
The
single
clique,
people.
the-
Yeah, the
that's
clique of
the
friends.
mixed company that
Yeah.
always hangs out together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
that's-
New York thing and like it's like oh yeah.
Do like East Asians, are they like or maybe just like the people who go to teach English there, are they into anime or is that more like just like a random
If they go to
thing?
if they go to South Korea, there's not really an anime place,
Okay,
right?
interesting. Right,
So I would
right.
say the vast majority of the people I met there are not like anime nerds.
Right, right.
But Japan, that's another story. If they're going to
Right.
Japan, it's a toss up, you know, like it could
Right.
be it's a 50-50 I'd say.
So anime is more of a Japanese thing?
It's very much a Japanese thing.
Okay, they don't do it at all in
No,
in
they do
Korea?
it, but they do more like webtoons, like
Oh,
internet
okay.
comics. They don't do like they don't have that the same culture.
Right,
on
right.
that.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Korea's famous for their dramas, right? They have all those like over the top dramas,
Oh, okay.
but they
For television or
for
what?
television, like
Okay.
television dramas, and
Like soap operas?
yeah, basically they're like soap operas.
Okay, they have this famous Filipino soap opera. I don't know what it's called.
Just
Yeah,
before I
right,
forget,
right.
Yeah.
so I have met
Yeah.
though the Korean equivalent. I met
Yeah.
like K-pop fanatics. So K-pop
Oh, yeah,
is like the
yeah.
Korean pop.
Yeah,
I met
yeah.
people who
That's
were like
weird
that.
stuff.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Man. There were literally
Yeah.
there are people that when they came to Korea, and
Yeah.
part of the reason they came is because they love Korean pop. And they would
Right,
go
right.
to like these concerts, like with all these like screaming young kids, and be like, they were so into it. I met at least 2 or 3 people who were like super like K-pop
Right,
fans.
right.
That is weird.
Were they teaching English as well? Okay, they must have been, right? Just
Yeah, they
kinda-
were because that's how they
Right,
like,
right.
you know, they went to the
Yeah.
source, right?
That's interesting. Yeah, so the people who taught English in Korea, not so many of them were specifically into anime. They just
Oh,
maybe,
no,
they wanted or whatever.
I
different
didn't
kinds of
like
people.
when I was there. Most of the people
Yeah.
were pretty well adjusted, like that I met.
Yeah.
There were like
Right,
the ones
right.
who were not well adjusted. They like petered out pretty quick.
Interesting. Like, so do you think like people who are less well adjusted are more likely to like anime?
Well, it is a pretty
I
immature.
could see how that's the
Right,
case.
right. Because
right?
I said something in one of my videos, like I was making fun of briefly of this anime clip, and someone pointed out who follows my channel, like, oh, you know, it's just like I was calling one of the male characters like feminine because he
Yeah.
looked like a kind of like a woman.
Yeah.
And he's like the main character, but I don't know, but then
I mean,
you know,
I'll
some
I'll
people,
definitely take your word for
Yeah.
it. I've seen some of their stuff. It's
Yeah.
kind of like
some people like it though. I don't mean.
I
to
mean,
hurt their
you know what? I
feelings,
think
but yeah.
we've all had this conversation. It's like
Yeah.
any subculture. Like I think if someone's really into a subculture,
Yeah.
like yeah, the anime is pretty nerdy, but there's also like tons of these other subcultures. Like we talk about comic book stuff. We
Yeah.
talk about any of these ones. There's like if you're really into like a certain subculture, you're more I think it clouds like you as a person completely.
Right.
But that doesn't
yeah.
mean you can't
Yeah,
be well
if someone
adjusted.
gets
I
that
think there,
much into a subculture, it does get kind of.
I think there
weird.
are like there are well adjusted
like
people who are into that.
LARPers, reenactors.
I think it's
for,
like
for his
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it
Yeah.
depends. What it is do
Yeah.
you use it to define your personality or not? If it's like I like it, you know, I watch it, but if it's like this is my personality,
Yeah.
I define myself by watching this or doing that.
But then I think some people are close to that, but they think like anime can now be a common like a cultural. Like it's a cultural reference point. Like you can bring it up in conversation.
Yeah.
It's like they're
Yeah.
not obsessed with it like you're
Yeah.
describing, but they're like, they might just like they were interviewing this rapper, and so he brought it up in this. Like, well, he was asked about it. I don't know, but they made a point. Maybe the people who were interviewing him, they focused more on that. I don't know, but it was just like, oh, now rap. Like this guy wasn't a black. He was a white rapper who does kind of like weird goth, like spooky rap. So it was like kind of a quirky type of rap. But
Okay.
but so maybe he's more likely to bring up anime. I don't know, but
Huh.
but
Yeah,
or they
maybe.
ask him about it, but.
I
was
would
talking
say-
about it in that
I
sort
would
of
say
way.
there's. I
Yeah.
mean, like just if you look at Japan itself, like there's a lot of like like there's a whole subculture of people who are like super into anime and like
Right.
they like it.
I think it's safe to say that a lot of these people also don't have great social skills. Like, do you think you could like say that?
Well, it might be different in Japan, but here they don't have. Here it's I don't know. They
I
have,
think
like,
it depends
they
again.
have social skills within their like.
Yeah.
It depends how much that
Group,
defines their
like, yeah.
personality. That's what I would like to say. Like if you're like, oh yeah, I watch it, but you're just
Yeah.
watch it, you don't talk
So
about it all the time.
A lot of YouTubers who are even sort of red pilled seem to be kind of like anime, like that guy Argent I showed you.
Right.
I'm glad I remembered that because I want to show you some funny things about Argent. That he's
Which one was he again?
He was the guy whose his avatar is like some anime cat with a long tail, and he was talking about how Lord of the Rings was a shitty series because it lacked any pace. Like
That
it
was
lacked,
funny,
it
yeah,
lacked
that was-
proper pace. Like so he's a good YouTuber.
That was
Like
funny.
he understands like these based things, but then he's like his voice is kind of a little. I don't want to say anything too offensive because I like this YouTuber, but
Well,
but he likes anime. He must like some anime. He must. I don't know, but if your avatar is in a sort of like that, I mean, it's not just anime. It ties in with fantasy stuff. Like it's not a coincidence that you'd be talking about fantasy subjects and. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh yeah, again, I think I really where it is, it's like I think it just depends on how much it's like you base your personality by. Like if it is it your like calling card, it's like, oh, I'm into this.
Yeah.
Because if it's just like like I think there's well-adjusted people. Like, look how many people watch like the comic book movies, and that's like regular Joe Schmo.
That's
like
very
you
true.
couldn't say that those are all are
The
maladjusted.
comic book movie thing is kind of fucked up to me.
But it's weird.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing about it. It's like how many people who are you would say are like just your average person like watch that. Like there's millions and millions.
But
of
the
people.
idea
Yeah, millions of
but also
people.
like the
Yeah.
idea that you're perked by like a superhero movie is kind of fucked.
What word did you use? Perked?
Yeah.
That's a cool word to use.
Yeah, like you're sort of
Like
you're
it
interested-
registers.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
something-
There's
clicks.
a new
Yeah.
Avengers movie. Oh
Yeah.
wow, I gotta look into this. It's like, who gives a shit?
It's
Like,
just a long. This thing's been going on for like a while now. Like since the early 2000s when they
Long
started
time.
making Spider-Man, because it was different in the 90s when we were kids. Because back then we could go to see the Batman movie, but we know it's for kids.
Yeah.
But we're kids. But we know that.
yeah.
So then when you get to a certain age, like 12 usually, or
Yeah.
13.
That's why the new Star Warses weren't great.
Yeah,
for
like
us.
I told
we
you,
were,
I told
we
you
were
how
too old.
I told you how my friends were like, no more Star Wars, like we're.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I
We're
got
coming to the age
with
group,
the
right?
plan because I realized that, yeah, I mean you can, it's
Well, it's like the people who make those movies figured it out. It's like if you market it to kids, you have a cap how much money you
Yeah.
can make. But if you can market it to adults,
something
around.
changed.
Well, it's getting them
Yeah.
hooked as kids,
Yeah.
and you keep selling them as
Yeah.
they're older. The ones that don't shed it.
you know what's the other thing though?
Shut
It's
up.
like the big
Yeah.
money though for them is like China and all over the world, right? That's
Yeah.
why they make these movies so generic and it's like easy to like port to another country with like no
Yeah.
problem.
But I think this thing started in the early 2000s, around there,
Yeah,
because
probably.
in the 90s it was. My theory is that, like, men were still, like, I don't know how to say this, like, smart enough to realize that it's like, okay, this is now like not for a grown man.
Yeah.
So I'm leaving this behind. Like I'm gonna go throw the football around.
Yeah,
outside.
yeah. Do something else.
Whatever,
Right?
like-
Be interested in different
Yeah.
genre. Yeah.
And but you got like you can blame millennials for this, but think of it. It almost by definition must have been Generation Xers that got it started because
I
like
think so,
when they were
yeah.
getting excited about the 1998's reinstallment of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like the guy in the video store at Jumbo Video, he's like, "Oh, it's coming out." Like that guy must have been a Well, okay, like he
I'm
was.
not.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
vividly. I went to see a movie. It was before the Phantom
Yeah.
Menace came out, but it showed a preview of it.
Yeah.
And this guy who was probably like 30, sitting in the seat, he got like giddy
Oh my goodness.
He's like, oh my god,
Yeah.
oh, this is it, and it was just
Oh,
showing
God.
the preview for the Phantom Menace at the time.
Yeah, that's.
And I remember like staring at this guy, and that moment, like, 'cause I would have been probably like grade 5 there or something.
Yeah.
That was it. Like seeing that dude, that man there, like get excited about the Star Wars movie. It was like it. Like after that, I was never into it again.
You know what I think it is? I don't think
Scared me
it's. I don't
straight,
think it's
like-
necessarily like a generational thing. For example, I think it just the fact that technology has allowed people in these smaller subcultures to find each other and be like.
Well, it wasn't the
find places to
boomers.
accept each other. Well, because they didn't have the internet. They didn't have these like.
But the
movies
but the
that
Generation
Well, that
Xers,
doesn't really-
they didn't have the internet either. But then some of the I'm not saying all Generation Xers, just some. But you needed a contingent
Yeah.
of Generation Xers to get the ball rolling,
But
and then
when did it
a
happen,
huge chunk of millennials just like assimilated into this culture of liking superhero movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like into their adult.
But I was saying it's like. But what I'm saying is, didn't
Yeah.
it happen at the end of the 90s, early 2000s was when that switch happened.
I noticed. I'm saying then because that's when I noticed Spider-Man movie because
Yeah.
Spider-Man
It
was
the
like
first- it was like the
Spider-Man
catalyst,
was like
yeah.
a unique franchise because at the time when Spider-Man was coming out, the whole superhero thing hadn't really. It wasn't just like across the board at that time. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
like
yeah.
there had been Batman here and there,
I
and
mean,
there had been
there were
there'd been
Superman movies
Superman,
that
but that
was
was
from the
that was a
80s.
different old thing.
Yeah.
So then Spider-Man started coming out.
It pushed that
And
stuff
that
into
I
the
think I
foreground.
think that was like a big because that was before they made X-Men into a movie, right? I don't know.
I think it was.
Or at least around the same
What year
time.
was the first X-Men movie
But-
out? I feel like it was around
yeah.
the same time.
It was probably around the same time.
So
but,
let's
yeah.
even link those two together. Like
Yeah.
that was part of the same.
Yeah, it was
phenomenon.
around the same.
was.
But I think
And then Hulk wasn't
Spider-Man was
long.
more successful because they had Tobey Maguire and it was like a they made three in a row or.
Yeah.
I'd say that was like one of their main. And then once they proved that adults will go to see Spider-Man. Because I remember being in California when I visited my cousin in California when I was, this would have been 2007, and so I would have been, 21 roughly? And we went to, my cousin was like 2 years older than me, and my brother at the time was like a year and a half younger than me. So we went to see Spider-Man. And I didn't suggest it, but that, there were his other friends there too, and we ended up seeing that movie in the theater. And I just remember sitting there thinking like, this is kind of, it feels a little odd. Like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
It's like, but everyone else seemed to enjoy it, but just a good old dumb American movie.
Yeah, right.
Like I remember there was a part in the movie where Spider-Man he's moving around, and then suddenly he stops and lands somewhere.
The
and he's, like,
American
behind
flag is in
American
the
flag.
background.
It's just like literally a 2-second clip, and like everyone in the theater like laughed at that. I
Yeah.
didn't laugh because I'm a Canadian. I'm just like, oh, okay, like I don't know. I was like. I hadn't been conditioned
It just
to
didn't
react.
mean
I hadn't
shit
been
to you
conditioned to
anymore.
react to something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But I remember my cousin was right next to me and he saw it and was like laughing at Spider. I don't get it. I don't get Americanism.
Yeah.
Were they laughing because it was ridiculous, or laughing? Like,
I guess. Yeah.
I mean that like.
Yeah, it was meant to be silly in the movie. It wasn't meant to be like a patriotic. It was meant to sort of be a patriotic moment, but
To be
but
laughed
also
at.
a little comedic because the way he just landed there and
Yeah.
suddenly, he just happened to
Yeah,
be.
I remember that, man. That,
I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, it was meant to sort of invoke laughter, perhaps. Like
Not that I remember much about.
That's funny
these
because like
movies.
I remember seeing that and I thought that was like serious. Like that was just like a really American thing.
I don't even think I've seen the first Spider-Man.
I don't know. That would have been like
First
the
part of it.
second movie. I can't remember what because it was
I
2007.
don't know. I don't remember. I don't like Tobey Maguire. I think he's a
Yeah.
fucked up actor
Yeah.
who played a role in all these popular but subtly subversive movies.
Yeah. Right.
Like Hollywood in general. But whatever.
Yeah,
that's
he's a weird guy.
It's another subject. But what about not to change the topic too much, but like Journey to the West or the East or the West?
What's the one with the monkey?
The one with monk. Like that's such a weird. I don't know what to call it. Like it's not a soap opera, but it's like what? Like
It's a fable, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's for television, right?
Oh
So,
yes, there's
yeah.
there's a television version. Like,
Yeah, and that television version is popular in Africa.
Really?
Like in Ghana, they loved it when I was there.
Weird.
Yeah, they loved that. They loved the Filipina soap opera. And then there was probably something else. Oh, well, I think it was like they had a Colombian soap opera that was pretty popular too.
Weird.
And,
Like how
but
was
the,
it
but
popular?
Journey to the West or whatever, I think, or to the East, I don't remember. But
I think it's
that-
Journey to the West. Yeah.
that teleseries, I'm
Like
just
with
gonna-
the weird monkey
that was
face
so
thing.
popular. Like that was right up there on their networks. Like at least it seemed to be getting a lot of airtime and very popular. People loved it. Even though it's Chinese, I guess there was some poorly translated subtitles.
Yeah.
But even the translations are like not ideal at all. But it's like it doesn't matter.
That's weird. Like
I mean, we were talking earlier about how like what Japanese
Yeah.
consume
what? But
friends. So
Is
for
there-
Africans consume Chinese
I was gonna say,
culture
is there a
too.
big is there a big Chinese influence in Ghana? Because I know in different parts.
There
of
there must be some because that show got through. But then I don't
There's
know.
a lot of money being like a lot of the Chinese.
There is a
taking
Chinese
advantage
influence.
of Africa. Very.
Yeah, there is a Chinese influence in
Okay.
Ghana. They have workers there doing different things.
Yeah, they're going there to take all the natural resources.
Yo. Well, they're in Zambia and other parts of Africa. Yeah, like getting African countries into debt
Yeah.
and
And taking their resources in return.
yeah, get them into debt. Build them soccer stadiums that start to fall apart a year after they leave,
Yo, Adam,
or maybe some useful
not even
infrastructure.
one call.
Not even one.
All right, fine.
Should have some. It's the holiday season.
Yeah, come on. When's the next time we're gonna be hanging out like this? This is like a once a year thing.
I'm alright, thanks.
Now, are you sure?
I am deadly serious.
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
But yeah, that kind of culture stuff.
Yeah.
We covered a lot of good ground there. But yeah, so not all people are into anime, but they're into it, and there's like the full-on people, then there's like the mid-ground people who are like, it's something I can bring up in a conversation.
Yeah.
But I remember like my friends, they were into just Japanese culture in general.
Yeah, they were mild
back in the day.
Japanophils, I would say.
Yeah, they were back in the day. I mean, they may still be. I don't know, but
Probably.
and then they like World of Warhammer or World of Warcraft. Sorry.
Yeah.
World
World of Warhammer. No, not that. That's a different group of people.
Yeah.
Oh
it is.
man, yeah.
But whoever they are. Oh man. Yeah, cultural stuff. I don't know. I sort of left video games behind too. Like I never really got into computer games or
Well, I still play them.
like I still would play them, but anyways, I feel like we've had a close to that conversation, so
Yeah.
I guess I can stop recording.
Yeah.
All right. Hasta luego, amigos.